is on Saturday. Let's just share some quick thoughts because this is the only time we're going to be going live this week. Of course, I'm sure Wes and Chris will be back on here at some point this week to get some more clarity to what they think is going to happen this weekend with the scrimmage. But let's share some of our thoughts. I mean, when we are back on here next week and talking, and when we hear from Shane Beamer, and when sources start giving some intel to guys and whatnot with our team, I mean, what are we hoping to hear from South Carolina in this scrimmage? It could be literally anything, Kendall. Like, is the kicking battle going well? Did guys separate themselves in certain position battles? Who looked good? I mean, take this however you want, I think.
Well, I just hope that Shane comes back and has all positive things to say first and foremost. You don't want to hear that there was any messing around or unseriousness. I don't think he would say that anyways, but again, you want to hear it was business-like, it was efficient, the offense was streamlined, it was going well. You feel like the guys were successful in that regard. It's always hard in a scrimmage because you want to hear that the offense is successful, but you don't want it to be to the point where it's okay, but was the defense good at all? You want to hear that there was a steady amount of competition, I think, between both sides. I also would love to get answers special teams wise after this weekend. I know we just talked about not wanting guys to separate themselves too much, but you've got to have guys that are able to come out and be named starters, and you have to be able to have more clarity on that. And I think the sooner you're able to have more clarity on that, the easier it is for those guys to settle into their respective positions. So hopefully after this weekend, you might hear a little bit more about that when it comes to guys that are going to start on the offensive line, guys in the running back room, guys on special teams, kicker, whatever it might be. And then I think also from a quarterback standpoint, you want to hear Lenoris did well, but you also want to hear the other guys were getting in there, getting reps, and they were successful kind of leading the offense and being that traffic cop, so to speak, of the offense. So all of those things are what I want to hear. I know we tend to get some coach speak out of this, so hopefully not as much coach speak and a little bit more direct. We're hearing guys' names specifically of who really stood out. And then the other thing is just hearing that freshmen and then transfers who are new to the program, who are just coming in and doing the scrimmage here with South Carolina preseason, they also fit in and they were adjusting fine and everything seems to be clicking on all cylinders. I just want to hear that it went smooth. And no one got hurt. Obviously, that everyone is healthy. That's number one.
Yeah, that's the main thing. You do not want anyone to get hurt. I think for me, kind of what you said, if there's any specific players I want to hear about and what they did, I think Julian Walker's a name that we continue to hear about. Noah Clark, who South Carolina calls Big Noah, because Kendall, I don't know if you know this, he's a huge defensive tackle, 6'5", 345 pounds. He's your old school nose tackle type of body. So he's a big kid, 18 years old. I'm looking forward to hearing what he does. But I think on the offensive side, what's up?
18. It's just crazy to hear.
Just turned 18 last month. It's insane.
So he's probably not even done growing.
No, probably not. But I think besides that offensive side of the ball, want to hear about this offensive line, what they're doing. I think just hearing more about who's stepping in at receiver and running back as well. Certain position battles, you want to hear who's doing well. And yeah, you're probably not going to hear too much because a lot of this stuff is coming from people that are at these scrimmages, probably as far as sources go. But you want to hear some of the good, but you also, I mean, they're not going to really spill anything bad that happened. They're trying to pump it up as much as they can, I think. So we'll see. And I think also what I mentioned earlier about the offense, I want to hear how the offense looked. Did they operate efficiently? Was everything pretty good? Did they have a ton of penalties? How did it go? And I think because this is always every year, if the offense is doing well, then the immediate assumption is, oh, well, the defense isn't doing well. And if the defense is doing well, then that means the offense is doing well. I don't really put a ton of stock into that, but I think we know the defense this year is going to be one thing with Clayton White. The defense is always typically pretty good. 2 years ago, especially really good. Even last year, I think they gave you a chance in nearly every ball game to win. And I think that's going to be the case this year. But I think it's way more important to hear that the offense is doing good things on Saturday. If they can run the football and move up and down the field and do great things, I don't worry as much about the defense because I think they're going to be fine this season. But the key for me this weekend is what can this offense do and who is going to step up?
Well, You're right about the penalties. I'm interested to hear about that because last year I think you and I were both about to lose it multiple times with the pre-snap penalties for South Carolina. I mean, like there were just some things, and this was like my big hot button topic last year outside of the play calling and like just the offense in general. My hot button topic was the penalties. It's like, all right, some of these are just ridiculous. Like, and Shane would talk about it as well. You shouldn't be having this amount of, especially pre-snap penalties, things that are completely avoidable, things that are completely within your control. That should not happen. So just hoping for like cleanliness from that standpoint this year, like a heck of a lot of discipline when it comes to that, because we've seen that in the past be a problem for South Carolina. So you just don't even want to get that started. Like you just want to make sure at the top of the season, even in these scrimmages, you go in and you make sure that everything's as clean as possible, because it's only going to get harder, especially when you have thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of fans at an away game in, the SEC, and it's hard to hear. And, you need to make sure that everything is aligned from that standpoint. So that was a great point, Jack.
Yeah, totally. So those are the main things. And of course, I think the kicker battle too, and long snapper, like who is going to take up those roles. And Big Red does ask, are we going to see multiple kickers, punters? Or are we set there? Not set yet. Well, punter, yes. Mason Love is going to be your punter this year. That was confirmed by Matthew Smiley at Birdies with Beamer to me a couple weeks ago. And kickoff duties, Max Kelly's going to handle that. But speaking of Max Kelly, who is going to win the starting kicker position? We'll see. That is something that is still ongoing and doesn't really seem, and history would tell us this too, that South Carolina isn't really much of a rush to name that starting kicker. So when they get to that point, we'll see. Probably going to be a couple weeks, but this first weekend of scrimmages here that you got going on Saturday, this is where you really start to learn who's separating themselves. Once you put the pads on, which they already started putting pads on, Friday will be the first day of full pads, and then Saturday's that first scrimmage. Once you really get into it from that point on, you start learning like who's going to win these battles. And South Carolina should have a lot more answers, hopefully, after this weekend.